the sooner you can start to do something, the sooner you'll know what feels good and what doesn't feel good and what's resonating with people and what's not. Because, like I said earlier, when I started my business, the idea was there, but the customers and who I'm serving currently have changed quite a bit. Because before, I just want to help anybody. And then I got anybody, but was I super excited always about the work that I was doing or the project I was working on? Not always, but that was a lesson that I had to learn, you know? So yeah, just go out there and do it.
Welcome to Radiant Mom Rising. Get ready to be inspired, empowered, and uplifted. I'm your host, Mary Dibble, and in each episode, we dive into amazing stories, insights, and conversations that help moms like you chase your dreams and embrace your worth. Let's rise and shine together.
Welcome to this episode of Radiant Mom Rising. Today, I'm so excited to introduce a very special guest, Michelle Charpentier. Michelle brings over 15 years of diverse experience from startups to luxury brands, founding Sharp Consulting with a mission to empower all brands to reach their full potential. A graduate of Columbia College Chicago in Arts, Entertainment, and Media Management, she also holds an image consulting certificate from the Fashion Institute of Technology, which has been instrumental in working with individuals on personal branding. Michelle's career spans impactful roles at companies like David Yurman, where she developed award-winning customer experience strategies. As Chief Visionary Officer of Sharp Consulting, Michelle leads in coaching, strategy, and creative direction alongside serving as a leadership coach at Brabin. Michelle's current focus is on supporting nonprofits, women-owned businesses, and fellow mompreneurs through innovative consulting services and community building initiatives like Sharp Connections. She's also writing a book aimed at helping individuals discover their life purpose. Michelle resides in New York with her husband, their two toddlers, ages 2 and 3, and 16-year-olds. Michelle's story is one of resilience, transformation, and finding strength in the face of unexpected challenges. She's here to share her personal journey of navigating through difficult times, discovering her inner power, and coming out on the other side stronger than ever. Whether you're facing uncertainty or looking for inspiration to take the next step in your life, you won't want to miss this conversation. Let's dive in. Thanks for tuning in to Radiant Mom Rising. I have a very special guest today. Michelle, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Hi, Mary. Thank you for having me. It's an honor. So I would love for you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do. Sure. So my name is Michelle Charpentier. I am the founder of Sharp Consulting. I actually started it in the middle of the pandemic. As crazy as that might sound, it ended up being the perfect time. But yeah, so currently I support small businesses, mompreneurs, other entrepreneurs, and also working moms that maybe don't have their own business and they need help with like their personal branding and just helping create a life of balance and purpose. I love that. I think it's a beautiful path because there's so many of us out there who didn't. I know I was one of those moms who like had dreams, but never really knew my potential, knew that I could do it. And so finding people like you to help me and teach me and show me that there's endless possibilities, it's made all the difference in the world. And I'm excited that we are here getting to do that for other women. So how about we go back a little bit and why don't you share your journey in your life of what's led you down this path to what you do today? Sure. So I'll fast forward quite a bit, but I won't go year by year. So I'm originally from New York, and I always knew that I was going to live and work in the city. That was my dream. So when it came time to choosing a school, I figured that was my opportunity to try something new. So I went to school in Chicago, and then after I graduated, moved back. But all throughout school and like just after graduation, I was doing a lot of freelance work. I was doing fast show production, special events. And if you've ever been a freelancer, you know the struggle that it can be with not really ever knowing when your next gig might come through. So I ended up, a fellow freelancer friend of mine suggested that I temp. And my first day on the job ended up being a week to a month, turned into 9 years later, ended up being with this company. So it was totally by accident. I fell into this kind of corporate role. And that was a huge part of my professional life, but I always had that like creative entrepreneurial spirit, that bug that I needed to fill. So while I was working corporate, I still worked, fashion show production, New York Fashion Week, many small things like that, just because it was really fun for me. So it was, 2020, like I said before, I was pregnant with my first child. And shortly after, we started working remotely, thinking like, okay, the pandemic's going to blow over in a few weeks. I think my story is probably very similar to many. But so I ended up getting laid off. And of course, when the initial shock wore off and I was like total like in panic mode a little bit, but it's like, okay, what can I do? Now I have an opportunity. Like I've always wanted to create something for myself. When am I ever gonna be in this situation? Like I gotta make something for myself. And also being pregnant and like I want to take leave, like I want to spend time with my baby, like, it's all these things. So I'm like, let's just give it a shot. So I was honestly a little inspired by all these mom and pop businesses that were around me that could not sustain their business. They didn't have social media. They depended so much on foot traffic that was no more. So I helped them with small businesses and also friends of mine that were in similar positions where they weren't entrepreneurs, but they needed a job. So I'd help them with their personal branding. I helped small business with their website, buy online, pick up in store, things that I had done in corporate life and just like pared it down to something that was actually like achievable for a smaller scale business. And through that, I just like found my passions, found out what I liked, what I didn't like, the type of customers that I liked and I didn't like. And, and I really, really found my passion in climbing, working with women that were like me, that were moms that had a passion and wanted to do something that was making a difference in their community and for their kids. So really inspired by purpose-driven companies, and I started really leaning in that direction, also working with some nonprofits. So that is what really brought me to where I'm at now.
That is incredible. What a journey, right? You've gotten a
And
taste of the corporate world, and I mean, the skill sets that you learn along the way and the different areas you go to. It all is really, it's crazy how it all works together, right? To build us into who we are and to open other opportunities that sometimes we don't realize could be there for
right.
us. So I always find that neat to see how everybody's journey is just so up, so different, but so similar to in so many ways. And
Yeah.
it's so cool to be able to turn around and be like, a situation that could have brought you down. I mean, getting laid off, that's a huge thing that so many people experience. I was surprisingly lucky the way God worked it out for me because I actually was working in an oral surgeon's office right before the pandemic and actually quit at the end of the year because I got a job working from home with my brother-in-law's landscape company. And I
Oh,
was like, I
wow.
wanted to create an at-home job because I had just had a baby. We were thinking about having another one. And I was like, I need something that's more flexible. So I happened to like work it out where it's like I got this other job and I got to be at home. And then the pandemic hit. And so I think, and as in a landscape company, we keep going. So we never stopped. You know what I mean? That was a whole different situation. But the cool thing is that it's just awesome to see how like everything leads you where you're supposed to go, especially if you're open to the doors of opportunities of trying new things. If I had never done what I did and created this at-home job, I would have never even had the time or the ability to meet a life coach to
Oh, yeah.
introduce myself into the idea of becoming an entrepreneur myself. Because I think that's the ultimate goal here is we're moms, we're looking to have more time with our kids. We're looking to have that freedom to make our own schedules and to also really provide a service that means the world. I mean, for me, I love it. I'm so passionate about helping moms in any way I can, helping people really to
Yeah.
inspire them, to uplift them. So just I admire what you do. And for those who are listening who may be interested, like let's say there's some moms who are like, I would love to start my own business. I have no clue. What would be a piece of advice you would give them as far as things to think about to get them started?
Yeah, I think you really need to look internally and see what brings me joy, because if you're just like looking to start a business just for the sake of doing it, you'll never truly be satisfied. And you're kind of like, well, what's the point? So I think, figuring out first, like, what are my own personal values? And that goes for two, like, even if you don't even want to start your own business, if you're going to work for someone else, make sure that there's alignment there in what you're doing because you spend so much time working, you know? So it needs to be, in alignment with your personal beliefs and values. I really feel like. So I would say, yeah, find out what it is that makes you happy. Or like, was there a time in your life, either professionally or personally, where it brought you so much joy? What were you doing? Why did you feel that way? And then you can kind of build from there and just go and do it. Because I think that was a mistake that I made, quite honestly. I was so afraid of starting certain things. I felt like it needed to be perfect, and it's exhausting. You know what I mean? So don't just throw out anything out there, have some sense to it. But the sooner you can start to do something, the sooner you'll know what feels good and what doesn't feel good and what's resonating with people and what's not. Because, like I said earlier, when I started my business, the idea was there, but the customers and who I'm serving currently have changed quite a bit. Because before, I just want to help anybody. And then I got anybody, but was I super excited always about the work that I was doing or the project I was working on? Not always, but that was a lesson that I had to learn, you know? So yeah, just go out there and do it. Like whatever motivates you, whatever feels exciting, and be open because you never know where it's gonna lead you. Oh, true that. And that's, I hear that a lot. Do it
Yeah.
messy. Do it messy. Because
Mhm.
honestly, you're never, it's like, even okay, think about it. When you start a job and you have no clue what you're doing, it is messy in the beginning, right? But then it's no time
Yeah.
at all that it's like second nature to you and that you get it and you learn these new skills. And I know in my first year alone with the business, like I went from having no clue. And I mean, no clue what it means to have a business to being able to edit and create on my own website, doing my own funnels, learning email automations, learning how to start a podcast. Like I learned all this in a year's time because I just decided to invest in myself, to learn these things and try it. And yes, it was not always the best in anything I did. And there's lots of times that, I tried launches that, flunked or whatever, but that's okay because I still saw it as an opportunity to practice, to get
Yeah.
myself out there and try because I
Absolutely.
know that eventually, I knew that I would find my right people and my right place, but I would never have done that had I just waited to be like, I have to have this first and I have to do yeah, no, no, absolutely. And also too, like if you compare it to just like other businesses besides just like yourself as a solopreneur, I mean, look, how many companies, like big apparel brands, like think of your favorite brand, right? Like, not everything that they have on their website you love. Watch, some of their stuff goes to outlet. Like, some mistakes are made. You know what I mean? So it's like, but it's a lot of trial and error and just figuring out the market and what people like and what you like and what resonates with you. So yeah, don't second guess yourself. Yeah. And like you say, the more you try things, the more you'll learn about yourself and about
Mhm.
how you really want to run your business. What do you want to look like and who do you want to help? Who do you want to serve?
Right.
Like I said, one of my favorite things I find with interviewing people is a lot of them say that they never went out looking to be where they are. Like
Uh-huh.
they didn't because so many people, right? You think the typical way is going to college and going for that degree and going in that career. And a lot of them have even done that. And that's typically of what society teaches us that we're supposed to do. And yet most people who really fall in love with their work life or their businesses or whatever they do, it never ever saw that coming. Yeah. And so I think that's awesome to give yourselves that permission to
Yeah.
just do it messy and just try things. And resilience is a big key, I feel like, as well, because let's be real here. It's not easy. Some people out there will
Mhm.
make it look like it's so simple. And don't get me wrong, there are some things that can be simple. There's great, aspects to all sorts of things you'll try and do. But when it comes to the challenges that are faced, and I would love for you to highlight that, share with us because I love being like honest about this kind of conversation, especially in the beginning stages. This is where a lot of people fail and not
Mhm.
even fail because I mean failure is part of it, but this is why a lot of people stop pursuing. They give up. They give up. It's because of those beginning challenges. And I'd love for you to share and kind of talk about that and like how you've pushed yourself through the ups and downs, especially being in the pandemic time. Yeah, totally. I mean, well, I will say too is like perception is everything, right? So like most people that you're looking to for guidance or even aspirational, like they might not even always show you the good, the bad, the ugly. You know what I mean? So when you're, kind of analyzing where you're at personally or professionally, and then you're looking at someone that you admire, uh, you know, thanks. It can be like a little daunting, a little traumatizing at times even too. And I think also just touching on what you said before about, being an entrepreneur, yeah, we were kind of taught to like go to school and get a job and do all the things. So when we put ourselves in a position that is kind of going against the grain a little bit, even though a million people have done it before, I mean, that's just how the world works. But it puts us in a really vulnerable position because you're very exposed. It's just like, "Hi, I'm Michelle, and this is kinda like what I'm doing," and then, like, the whole world is, like, seeing it, which is a great thing, but it's also really scary and overwhelming. So, yeah, you just kind of, again, just, like, getting out there and just, like, facing your fears a little bit. Yeah, it's like, it's just kind of part of it, and just embrace it, you know what I mean? That's just part of it.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
it is, and it's, there's gonna be ups and downs no matter where you're at. Like some of the most successful people in this world, like I'm trying to think of who it was that said this. Oh yeah, well, of course, my mentor. I love Kathy Heller. She's gonna be somebody I talk about a lot in the show, always, because I just love her. But one of the things she said one time was that people who are making like $10,000 a month are gonna
Yeah.
have their struggles, right? Well, people also who are making hundreds of $1,000s a month, they have a new level of struggles and things that they have to worry about as well.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like this is why we gotta be there and support each other. And you have to also be willing to go out there and get the help you need. You
Totally.
don't have to do this stuff alone. You don't have to figure it all out all by yourself. There's so much out there to support you and help you along the way so that you do
Right.
succeed, so that you do thrive and you keep going because that's so important. I love my accountability partners. Like they are
Yeah.
my stronghold. I love meeting with them and us just always uplifting, supporting, talking things out, giving each other ideas. Like I am so grateful for that. I don't know if you've been a part of something like that on your journey, but I find that very valuable. Yeah, I'm finding it. Excuse me. And I'm actually I started one of my own too. I think it was really inspired by, and I might have talked to you about this last time we were chatting, but it was really honestly inspired by my daughter's friends' moms. I love that. My daughter's in preschool. And, of course, you have like this new set of friends once your children start school. And I have a group of friends now where our children go to school together. And of course, we like chat during play groups and whatever. But I was realizing that like my challenges that I was having were very normal. It just, I never, unless they're expressed, you don't realize that other people are going through the same challenges as you are. And especially, navigating motherhood. I have 2 toddlers and also, like, operating a business, like, there are many challenges in my life. Like, I'd be lying if I said there aren't. But it makes it so much better when we can, like, get together and joke about it together and, like, "How are you dealing with this? Is your kid doing this? Like, what did they come home saying this?" Like, and you can laugh about it, and it's
Yeah.
great. So, I started this community group. It's called Sharp Connections. And I have to have you on for virtual chat as well. But we're starting to have in-person events now that we're getting together in person again. And like, I think people are really itching for that.
Yeah.
And so much of the way that I mean, me personally, how I view life and how I operate my day to day is just so different. Not only because I'm a business owner now and I'm a mother now, but just like life as we know it now is changed. I think the pandemic, and not to like make this like a huge focus of what we need to talk about, but I think the pandemic helped me personally just like hit the reset button and be like, what is important to me in my life? It's my family, it's my health, it's making sure that everyone is happy. And it's not so much about like this corporate rat race of like climbing the ladder and like getting this much money now, getting that much title now, or getting that title now. And again, like you're just going back to like making sure that you're in alignment with what you're doing in your life. And so I think that provided a lot of us an opportunity to kind of like, you know what are we doing here? This doesn't feel right. We have an opportunity to kind of like pivot. We have a redirection. Yes, and I think we were in a place where we really needed that because we take we take our lives, okay, especially if you live here in America, we take things for granted. I mean, we have it so good here. I think a lot of us would freak out if we lost the internet or we lost our, I mean, think about it. Like we are so vulnerable here.
Yeah.
And the fact that we have it so good, and don't get me wrong, I know there's so many people out there struggling still within this country and stuff, but it's overall, we're so blessed. And that you're right, the pandemic did give us the opportunity to really stop and kind of get stuck with ourselves where we all had to be inside to be with our families and realize that there's other ways, there's more meaning to our lives and just how, precious life is. You just never know. Nothing's ever, tomorrow's never promised and life can be really short. And I know for me, I'm just on a journey of just trying to make the best of it. Live my best life, be there for my kids, create something. Yeah, exactly. And I want to inspire other people to do the same because I don't want people to miss out on who they're meant to be, where they're meant to go, the blessings, the abundance that's out there for us all. I don't want anyone to miss out on that.
Yeah.
So I love that you created this group. I think that's fantastic. You got to keep me. If you ever guys ever do a virtual, let me know. I'll be happy to join you. 100%. So you literally I don't know if my face can smile like any bigger because everything they just said, I'm like, yes, yes, for it's so on the same page with that. Like there is so much goodness for all of us to share. And I don't know if it's like being of a certain age or becoming a mom or like what it is, but I think maybe when I was like younger in my career, early 20s and maybe even early 30s, when I felt like there was so much competition all the time. But there's not. There really isn't.
Yeah.
Because like you and I could be doing the same thing, let's just say. But like what's good for you might not be good for me. And the people that, jive with you might not jive with me. Like there's someone for everything and we all can do the same thing and support each other and uplift each other. And I think that as long as it's positive, that it's good. And we should be all here for it. And I think that especially empowering women and like working moms and women in business in general, there's a lot to juggle. And so we really, we need the support of each other and we shouldn't be the ones that are bringing each other down. We should, be saying, hey, can I watch your kids so you can dig it out? Please. Right? Yes. Exactly. And even, furthermore, it's like I said, I same experience here. Growing up, it was always competition, jealousy amongst it was hard for me to even have girlfriends because I felt like no matter what I did, they hated on me. And it's a challenge for us, and unfortunately it is. But I love it because I see this movement. I see the movement of so many women working to support and uplift each other. And that is exactly who I choose to surround myself with now. And because that's an important aspect. If you have people in your life who are like that, who are jealous and competitive and things like that, they're only going to keep projecting ugly things onto you, even if they don't realize it, because that's just who they are and that's where they're coming from. So I think it's important to also watch who you surround yourself with because that does affect your outcomes. Literally, it's like the music that you listen to, the people you surround yourself with, what you put on your body, what you put in your body, like everything, because it's all just like, it can be so toxic. It just can be so toxic. So it's like surrounding yourself with good people, just like anything that's just good for you. And it's okay if you need to like prune yourself from people as you would prune leaves on a tree, but it's not going to grow. It's going to keep bringing you down. Yeah. And also like you were talking about before about just positivity. A huge part of that is practicing gratitude. And you might be in a season now that is not great. Like, you know what I mean? Like it happens to all of us, but you will come out of it. So still be appreciative of your here and now. Focus on the things that are great in your life and be thankful that you're working towards something better because it's going to come. It's going to come, and I know sometimes we'll be like really in it and we're like, how long is this going to last? And before, like, when is it going to come? Like, how hard do I have to pray? Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, when am I going to get my sign? When am I going to get this? But you can't question it. You just got to like stay vigilant, stay patient and just focus. And I've
And before you know it, you'll be out of it and you'll look back and you're like, "Whew," like, thank God.
You're right, because for instance, just okay, for my this is just a small example. It just popped to my mind when you're
Mhm.
saying that. Like, but like
Yeah.
when you first become a mom, your
Mhm.
hormones are so off balance. And I personally struggled really bad with postpartum depression. And it's like it's like in the beginning, and then my last son, my 3-year old now, he's 3, but when my last son though, he was colicky too. So on top of having a toddler, a kid, an older kid, and then this colicky baby, and I'm working full time from home. I got a week off once I gave birth to him. That was it, a week, and I had to keep working from home. And I remember like falling into such a dark depression, and I felt so alone. I didn't have support back then like I do now, and I had a great husband.
Yeah.
The thing about it is you're right. When you're in there, it feels like eternity. I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't think he was ever gonna stop crying. I didn't think he was ever gonna get through this. I didn't think I was gonna ever get through this. But I
Yeah.
did. I did, and I came out stronger from it. I decided to take care of myself when I really saw that I was falling. I was like, okay, I need to speak up. And I spoke and I shared with my husband how I was feeling. And I made changes and I decided to take action instead of stay consumed in that world where I do love it because before in my past, I feel like when I fell into dark places, I would stay in it
Yeah.
way longer than I needed to. But now I have the tools and the mindset and the awareness of when I catch myself falling into certain things, I'm like, nope, Mary, not going there. And I just, like you say, surround myself with positivity. I reach out to people who I know will support me and love on me and let me know it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I
No,
think that's
thank
so
you.
powerful.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that because it's true. Like that's one of those things where again, like the whole purpose of having these connections with like-minded people and also women because we do go through the same challenges and if you hadn't shared that, maybe someone else wouldn't have shared up and opened up to what they're going through. I went through a similar situation when I had my daughter. And I didn't think that anyone was really talking about it. And so I kept it inside me. But I had to say, like, thank God for my kids because when I was kind of in those, depressing stages of my life, I had to wake up for them. I had to show up for them. I had to, you know what I mean? So they kept me going because you have no choice. They're, jumping in your head and you got to get up, which, but, but I mean, like, I have been in stages of my life where I put all my eggs in a basket of like, maybe a job I wanted or something. And I didn't get it. And then it was like, I had my heart set on it and then it didn't happen. And I'd fall into this kind of funk. But it's what I realize, I think now, again, being like a little older and wiser is like those, again, were redirections. There were rejections that I took hard. But looking back, they were redirections because I think that's something that all of us have experienced where you want something so badly and you think it's gonna like, what's gonna happen, but it doesn't happen. So, like, how do you manage that? And so, say, for example, it's like the job, this has happened to me on numerous occasions where I'd be happy in whatever was going on at work. So I'm like, you know what? A new job. That's just what I need. I need a new job and that's gonna solve all my problems. And then you think you're gonna get it, and then you don't get it. And then you're like, in this like funk. But then fast forward like a few months later, you find out that like the business goes bankrupt. Or maybe like, the division moves cross country and you would have had to too. So it's like you just saved me from that. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
And you
yeah.
don't see it when you're in it because you're so upset. But then when that happens, you're like, oh, wow, I really, really, that was a blessing in disguise.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't see it done, but I
Yeah.
see it.
Exact hindsight, right?
Oh, yes.
But no,
Mhm.
that's just like even relationships. How many times have you wished and prayed, Lord Jesus, please let this one work out. I love him. He's the one. Let it work out. Please don't, and then it doesn't work out and you're devastated over the breakup. But then like down the road, you were like, whoop, I dodged a bullet. He was so not right for me. He was so not good for me. Like I was so much worthy than the way he was treating me, and it was a blessing to move on. But yeah, it goes in hand, whether it's work or any relationships. It's so easy in the moment.
Yeah.
People to easily get consumed in how you're feeling about it right now without realizing. This is where trusting. I feel like your intuition. trusting in yourself and trusting in God or whoever you believe in to guide you in the way you're meant to go. And I feel like life is just better when you live in that flow and that perspective. Like you said, perception's everything. And you allow those times when things don't go your way to not bring you down.
Yeah, totally. And it's so great that you were able to discover like your triggers too. So that way you can kind of try your best to avoid them. Like a trigger for me sometimes can be social media because I'll see like amazing people, again, like those aspirational people doing like, and it could be nonsense where they're like, I just made $100 million in a minute or whatever. And you're like, damn, how'd they do that? But you don't know if that's true. Like, don't let it bring you down. They could just be saying something to say something. They could be broke. Like, you know what I mean? So, knowing what your triggers are. And then, when you're in that funk, it's okay. Like, be in it, feel it, but find your way to get out of it and find ways that can bring you out of it and what can bring you joy. So, what is that? What is it? Going for a walk, going for a drive and getting yourself a little coffee? Like, what are those things? Playing with your kids outside? Going to church, praying, just, oh God, like get me out of this.
Yeah.
I don't have answers, but you do. What am I supposed to do?
Nah, yeah. Or like if you say with social media, turn it off for a little bit. Like I'm big on evenings and weekends. I don't get on social media. I put my phone away and that's my family time. And I used to be somebody who was so anal about leaving people hanging. Like I hated it. Like I'm a very like a fast-paced person. I don't like people waiting on me. I have to answer right away, and it cost me because I'm overstretching myself and also hurting my family when I'm choosing to respond to this message over spending time with them. And I had to come to that realization that, Mary, it's okay. People can wait. It's not the end of the world. And that's another
True.
but it is.
True. Because then it's like when you're with your loved one and you're responding on your phone or whatever you're doing on your phone, it's telling them that whatever you're doing is more important than they are. And especially when you're with your children, like that makes them feel so sad. Like that would make me feel so awful. So I also I'm a huge fan of calendar blocking, schedule planning. And so even sometimes with emails, like I have certain pockets of the day where I'm responding to people on LinkedIn. I'm responding to my emails because I used to be that person too when I was working my corporate life, I was available 24/7. Didn't matter which time zone you're in, didn't know how big or small the issue was, I was going to respond to you. But why?
Yeah.
Because something that I had told someone recently, they were getting paid, $100,000, right? There was their salary, but they were working like 12-hour days. And I'm like, well, your salary is really like $50,000 then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, is that worth it for you? Look, intense.
Makes
Like,
sense.
anything that's happening can wait. Like, you know what I mean? You have another business day. Like,
Yes.
but yeah, you need to prioritize your time and
Hey, Mama, I want to share something that could truly transform your life: the Mom Biz Mastery course and community. If you're a mom with dreams of starting a business or already juggling your business with the demands of family life, I see you. I know the struggles, the school runs, endless to-do lists, and those stolen moments to work on your passion. It's overwhelming, and some days it feels like you're constantly pulled between your family and your dreams. But here's the thing, you don't have to do this alone. Mom Biz Mastery was created to help you reclaim time for yourself while building a business that lights you up without burning out. It's packed with practical, actionable strategies tailored to your busy life. Whether you're still figuring things out or ready to take your business to the next level, this course is your step-by-step guide. And you won't just be going through this journey solo. You'll be part of a powerful community of moms who get it, with expert coaching, real advice, and connections that fit into your life. You'll have the support you need to thrive. You deserve this, Mama. You deserve to chase your dreams and build a life and business you love. Click the link in the show notes or reach out to me for a free consultation. Let's chat and see if this is the right fit for you. Your dreams are possible, and I'm here to help make them a reality.
Oh yeah, that is a huge part of what I teach with busy
Okay.
moms is because
Yeah.
I've been there. I get it. I know what it's like to be a people pleaser. Like you're trying to
Mhm.
please everyone else and put everyone else first so much that you literally hurt yourself mentally, physically by overstretching yourself. And I used to feel like I was being pulled in 100 different directions all the time. And I couldn't stand it, the person that I became because of it, because I would get grouchy with my kids. I would snap about things. I would be so mentally exhausted at the end of the day that I didn't even feel like hanging out and spending time with my kids because I'm not just so over it. And that's just no way to live, especially when you're, like you say, not really earning anything for it. That's worth it either. So it's
Huh.
like, yeah,
Well,
you know,
another thing too, sorry, but I just want to add that, you know, as sad as it is true that, like, God forbid something should happen to you, your employer is going to replace you. You know what I mean? But, like, your kids, like, can't just easily replace you. So, like, spending time with them is, like, really important, and, like, prioritizing your health and your time with your children is so important, and as hard as it is, like, look, I'm trying my best to practice what I preach, but I know it is hard. Like, it's hard because there's so many things for us to manage. But yeah, just like very intentional with your time. And just know that like your loved ones matter most,
out
you know.
there and time flies by. Like for someone who has a teenager and then two toddlers, like I can't even tell you, like, tomorrow's my daughter's first day of kindergarten, and then I have a junior. Like, it's so crazy to even think, like, how quickly that time has just flown by, and it's like, I just want to soak in all that I can and really not like I said, this is why I'm so passionate about helping and doing what I'm even doing because I don't wanna waste my life working for other people and doing things that I don't love and enjoy just because I gotta pay the bills. Like, that's
Totally.
no way to live. Like, I want to live in purpose of really doing something I love that, yes, I'm rewarded financially, but it's doing something amazing for other people so that they too can enjoy and embrace
Yeah.
that abundance. And on top of that, I'm teaching my kids. I'm being a good
Yeah.
role model for my kids and
Yeah.
showing them that they can chase after their dreams. They can
Yeah.
believe in themselves. There's endless opportunities out there. They don't have to do the typical, you know, upbringing that most people think that we have to in society. So like I said, it's this. I love this conversation, and I love having these kind of conversations because there's
Yeah.
so many of us like out there. We're hardworking moms, and we're just so ready for more. We're ready to embrace who we're meant to be, and by God, I wanna help you find that. Like, I want us all to find that together. Let's grow, let's thrive, let's be
Alright.
successful, and let's help each other and build each other up. That is what this is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people, if they're so, unfamiliar with what even it entails or like how to get started and like it's a dream of theirs. They wake up every day thinking about it and they just like don't know if it's for them or whatever, whatever. Like honestly, like the simplest strategy call could solve like so many of your questions. And, to work with someone like us where you're saying, well, you could do this and this, and you could start by just doing this on this day. And, do you have childcare here? And you can do it then and do this and that. You know what I mean? And it's like all of a sudden it's like, wow, I see that I can do this. Like I'm capable of doing this. Because if you truly want something, you'll find a way to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And you think about all the time you make to do X, Y, and Z. If something's really important to you, you can allocate time to invest in yourself because you're worthy of that. Like you're worthy of happiness and, like we said before, creating that work-life balance and, someone for your kids to look up to and be proud of what they're doing. And maybe you're building something that, they'll inherit one day. Like you never know what you're creating and how big something could be. But it's true, like time does fly. My oldest came into my life when he was 3, and what my daughter just had her 4th birthday, but last year was, like, so emotional for me because when she turned 3, I was like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
where had the last few years been?" And your phone I have an iPhone, it's like a constant reminder of, like, this is your memory on this, like, however many years ago, and you're like, "My baby, like, what happened?" But they're so grown up now. So it's like if that's not a kick in the butt for you, like I don't know what is. But yeah, time is short. So just make the most of it and just try it. Like, just go out there and try it.
Exactly. I mean, what do you have to lose sometimes? I say
Mhm.
to just try things. And I mean, yes, I get there's some things that are really risk takers out there, but some of the most successful people didn't get to where they are without taking risk, even if it had bad results. Because some of them made bad choices and lost lots of money or did things or whatnot. Hey, I know I've invested in the wrong programs before and didn't really get out what I thought I was going to get out. But at the same time, I'm still grateful because I still took a chance on myself. I still got something. I still learned something, whether it was like what I don't want to do, that's still learning.
Yes. And also saves you time because I'd rather play trial and error with my business. I know it's like a funny way to kind of phrase that, but my point is I'd rather explore and fail on my own business than when I work with someone else, I can be like, oh, okay, well, this is how we got to do it because like I've done this before. And so these are the programs I recommend we use because this one's too slow and this one glitches or this one, because I've tried them before.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna have anyone be, like, my guinea pig, like, I'm my guinea pig,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna make sure I know it, and then we'll do it right, you know?
exactly.
Yeah, you and there's just and there's so and I think that's the thing that can be kind of daunting sometimes too when you're starting because of the age we live in, there is, like, so many opportunities and so many resources and so many ideas and so many programs, and it can feel really overwhelming, but, like, we don't have to do all the things. Like, you don't have to be on TikTok. You don't have to be, like, doing this and this just because you see someone else doing it. You got to do what's going back to what I was saying before, you gotta do what's right for you. So, it might not be as overwhelming to start because you might be thinking, "Oh my god, I have to be an expert in XYZ." Not necessarily. You can work with an expert and you bring your ideas and you bring your passion, you bring your vision, and then you make it come to life and you just start small and then it grows. And it might take off overnight or it might take some time, but like,
Yeah.
who cares?
And you'll never know until you try, right?
You'll never know. It'll never happen unless you start. They'll never know unless you start. It's
Yeah,
true.
it is. It is. And you have those people there that will s you know, watch other people do it, or there's gonna people who are gonna get out there and do it for themselves, and so who do you wanna be? That's what what do you wanna
Yeah.
make of your life? That's definitely what I love to ask myself,
No.
what is your why? Why are you doing what you do, you know? Uh,
Yeah.
so,
Absolutely.
so tell us a little bit about what it looks like to work with you, and if somebody were to wanna come work with you, how can they find you?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I'd love that. I love talking to people, if you haven't already guessed that about me. So I always am open to just having a call with anybody. Pick my brain, whatever you want to talk about. It's motherhood, it's business, it's whatever. You know what I mean? So I love connecting with people. I meet a lot of people on LinkedIn. I meet a lot of people on Instagram or at community networking events. So I always start off with the call and then let's just see like what makes sense. I like to know what the person's goals are, what their dreams are. Dream big. Like, tell me what you got. Like, let's see how we can make this happen. And I'm also super practical, So, like, if someone's saying they want to do something, I'm like, okay, well, we should start by doing this, or you should really speak with so and so because they're a lawyer and they're better equipped for that type of thing. So I'm open to guiding people and I'm not going to be the first to like jump on a project if I'm not the right person for it. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But I love talking about it and I love being people's cheerleaders too. Like as much as I love having clients, I love just supporting people in their dreams. So that's why I'm always down to have a chat with someone. And then if it ends up that we can collaborate and work together, that's even better, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great. And we'll make sure to include all your links in the show notes. So
Well, thanks.
anyone listening, if you want to go follow Michelle, go get on a chat with her. She'll help guide you. She'll teach you. We both are here for you in any way that we can to support you on your growth and any areas of life, especially as a mom, because we get it. We're there too.
Oh, yeah.
We're all working to figure this out, this thing called life, but we are doing it in the most positive, inspirational way possible because we deserve to. And
Mhm.
I don't know about you, but I'm tired of living in the fixed scarcity mindset that I was for so long. I love the growth and the abundance mindset. And I love helping other people to shift from that to this one because it really does open so much and attract amazing stuff for your life that we all deserve and is already there for us.
Mhm.
We're just walking the path towards it.
Yeah, yeah. And you'd be amazing, like, once you change your thought process from no one's gonna wanna see me or work with me or whatever, like, I think that's a lot of people's mindset when they first get started. Once you change that and you give yourself a little, like, pep talk, like, "No, like, I know what I'm talking about. This is a good idea. Like, people want this or wanna work with me or whatever." Once you kinda change that, then you receive it. Like,
Yeah.
you'd start, with having that positive mindset, you start to attract that, and you start to have conversations with people that are really, really worth it. And I think sometimes there will still be people that, are kind of grouchy people, and there are people that are like that out there. But if you come across them, then that's, you know that, and then you know right away, like, okay, they're not for me.
Yeah.
Like, I wish you the best of luck on your endeavors. But
Yes, and
not
that's yeah, exactly, and that's okay because that's part of healthy boundary setting.
right,
We
exactly.
we're not in this just for money. Don't get me wrong, I know that's a beautiful blessing, but at the same time, like, the goal is for the results, the outcome. It's actually getting to see you succeed, and if we don't feel like we're in a place that we can help you with that, then your money's no good. Like, that only hurts your business because then in the end, it's like, "Oh, you're not gonna refer anybody. You're not gonna be a good" word of mouth is a great way to build a business, so the goal is to
Totally.
really help those and also, like you say, you don't wanna take on a project in which you're miserable just because, "Oh, they paid you, so now it's like I gotta deal with these
Right.
people if they're not a good fit." So never be afraid to be real, true to
Yeah.
yourself, and be real people, and you can do it in the most kindest professional way, of course, but that is
Yeah.
something I do see that people run into, that they sometimes will take things on just because they're either feel like they need the money or they're desperate or they just don't wanna hurt people's feelings. Nah, don't.
No, totally. And well, that's actually, I actually just realized, I don't know if I answered one of your questions, but before you were asking me about, I was so excited to talk to you that I feel like whenever we get together, it's like there's so much fucking energy that I like can't even. But I think one of the mistakes that I see people making in the beginning is like a little bit of like self doubt. And I certainly had that. I think we started talking about that too, where like a mistake you may have made in the beginning. So having that self doubt or like not really understanding your own self worth
Mhm.
or like having low confidence just because it's like so vulnerable and so new, So when you get connected with like an association of women that are going to support you and uplift you, or like a coach or a mentor or someone, that really helps like pull you out of that funk because sometimes you just need someone to tell you that you're amazing. You know that you are because you wouldn't try to go and pursue something if you thought like you were not able to do it. So sometimes just have someone pulling you out of that funk that you might be in is really important. So having that support system is really important when you start a business because there is a lot of uncertainty and can lead to a lot of self-doubt and then can have a really, really negative trickle down effect.
Absolutely. I mean, especially in the beginning. I mean, I think that's why you do see so many people offering that help out
Yeah.
there. I know I do because I wish I had
Yep.
more, I wish I had different kind of help in the beginning. And that's something I'm trying to offer with my programs because it's, like I said, there's so many people who everyone goes about it in different ways, but ultimately, like you said, that self-doubt, that also uncertainty of not really knowing which direction you maybe want to go, really knowing yourself, like you need time for that. You need
Yeah.
someone to help focus on that and not be so much into the space of like, well, post this and do that. I mean, it's
Mhm.
like there's so much more to a business than just posting and
Yeah.
marketing and like you say, it's also you, like, who you are as a person is such an important aspect of, like, how you're gonna show up in your business and how
Totally.
you're gonna attract, and so that's a big focus I feel like I don't see always in a lot of stuff out there that I want to help moms with because
Yeah.
I think that, like you say, that self-doubt in the beginning is a huge downfall for so many of us. That imposter syndrome alone is
Oh
like,
my gosh.
"Who am I to do this?" Like, and then you especially if you happen to have family members or people who are not supportive of you,
Oh yeah.
it's
And like
almost like
can be really imposter syndrome, like, honestly, it can be really, really damaging to, like, what you're starting to do if you can't get yourself out of it. And I think a lot of it, kinda like what I was saying again before about social media, there's so many people on there that like claim to be a guru and claim to, you know, follow this blueprint for making $1 million. And it's just kind of like, whoa, like businesses are not one size fits all. So that's why I really like to work in collaboration.
Yeah.
Because there is a particular strategy that all businesses have. Sure, there's like, you know, blueprints that have worked well and, you know, you always kind of have certain frameworks,
Right.
but like each business is so unique because each person is different and their goals are different and their beliefs and their values are different. And so I also like to work a lot with like partnerships and community relations and things like that because like us, how we have to lean into our own communities to uplift and empower each other, your business needs that too. And so when you can connect your business with other similar businesses,
Yeah.
it's very powerful, you know? So I really kind of like hate so much all the, I know hate is such a strong word, but like I really dislike all the gurus and the people that are just like, here's the foolproof strategy. I don't know. I don't know about that. There are templates that are important, but I don't know. No, I 100% agree with you because that is the one thing on my journey that I've seen the most is that fact that there's so many different ways that people are doing it that are successful, which proves that it Yeah.
is not a one size fits all. And that's what
Right.
I love is like finding your unique path, like finding what works for you. And so let's try things together and like have fun with it. And let me support you as you do it to keep you going. Cause I know there's so many people who are shy who don't
Yeah.
like the idea of like going and doing I was there too. I didn't know how to take even the podcast because I was like, "Oh my god, the way I talk. How are people gonna think I'm a country girl?" You know, I have a little bit of a country accent, but I also have a professional voice. It's weird.
Totally. No, I hear you. I
Yeah,
hear
but I was like, but I was like, is anyone gonna even care? Like, you know, am I gonna
I
say
know.
beep it? And I mean, with those thoughts.
The first time I heard myself on a podcast, I was like, "Oh my god, this should be a drinking game. How many like, or you know what I mean?" Or I'm like, "God, why did they not tell me?" I said, and I probably sound like that on this one just because that's the way I talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There we go. But yeah, it's like it's really, but that's also something that I had to get over because I still kind of feel like I have a fear of public speaking. And so what I started to do to get over that fear is I started mentoring. And I had to just I faced my fear. You know, you just have to put yourself in those positions.
Okay.
And it's true, like the more you do it, just like the podcast or speaking in person or speaking with clients or pitching or like whatever you do, the more you do it, the more comfortable it gets. And, you know, like we're all just people, we're just having a conversation. And it's fine. Like, it's fine.
And that's what I think is my favorite part about it all. Is like, yeah, I
Yeah.
get to be me. Like, I don't have to
You're not
pretend to be
judging.
someone I'm not. Like, I get to just come and talk and meet amazing people around the world and give them a space to share their story and
Yeah.
be inspirational. Like, come on,
Well,
this is awesome.
little, but not that's the cool thing about being an entrepreneur is like you honestly get to show up as yourself. Whereas like when you work for a brand, you have to show up as the brand. And I think that was another thing that I learned too when I first started my business. I felt like my copy wasn't really reflecting my personality. It had no personality basically. It was very just kind of corporate and you know. And then I don't know, I just kind of like had this epiphany, like, you know, talking about my business to someone. And I'm like, why don't I write like that? Like, why didn't I say that on my website? Because that's what I'm doing, you know? And I feel like all of these years of working in corporate, I had this particular tone of voice. It wasn't mine. It was a brand, you know, but I felt like that was the way that I was supposed to show up to look like I was a professional business. But I'm like, I'm showing up as me. This is what I'm doing. I'm wearing jeans. Here we go. You know, this is it.
I, and I feel like that's the way it should be. Like, it's awesome. And like I said, I told my husband the other day, I was like, I'm living more and more unapologetic. And I
I love
love it. I love it. Like, I'm
I
not
love it.
worried about what other people think about me. I'm getting there and I love it because it is so much it's just so nice. It's so nice to free myself from worrying what everyone else is going to think or how this one's going to judge me because I do this or you know, I'm like if you can't be supportive of me, if you can't be there for me, then okay, that's fine.
And for me.
You're not exactly. You're not for me. That's your loss. I'm good.
Yeah.
I am so blessed right now because of this path that I've chosen to
Okay.
meet some of the most incredible women, including yourself, Michelle. So thank
Oh,
you
you were so
again.
kind.
Yes, thank you. I mean,
Oh, you're
seriously,
so
this is exactly why I'm so excited that I've chosen to do this. And I just went with it. Like, I didn't go searching to do a podcast. It found me and I decided,
kind.
why not? And
Yeah.
here I am.
But I'm so glad. I am so glad that you're doing it. And that's why I love supporting women like yourself, is because it's important work. Like there might be women tuning in that they don't hear this at home, or they don't hear this at work, or they don't feel like, they don't get that validation. But like your feelings are valid, your dreams are valid. And there are a lot of people that want to support you and see you happy and thriving. Like, why would someone not want that for someone? So I appreciate the work that you're doing. It's so important. I love you. I love your enthusiasm. I love your story. I love your journey. I'm like such a huge, so this is like super fun.
Well, same here, Michelle. Like, it's been an honor and I cannot thank you enough. And before we end here, is there any final thoughts or anything? I know we've covered so much today and it's
Oh my
been
goodness.
wonderful, but is there any final thoughts you'd like to share?
Man, I don't know, just happy to connect. Like if you have any questions, I'm always happy to just have a chat with someone. But yeah, go and just appreciate life, work towards your dreams. I mean, like you got this. And if you have questions, like there are people that want to support you. Contact Mary, contact me. You got
We do.
it.
We got you. Yeah.
And we get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Again, Michelle, thank you so much for being part of the show. I really appreciate you being here.
You're so kind. It's been so much fun. Thank you.
What a fun conversation. Here are the key takeaways from today's episode. Follow your joy. You need to look internally and identify what brings you happiness. When starting a business or pursuing a career, make sure it aligns with your personal values to find true fulfillment. Take action, even if it's messy. Perfection isn't necessary to begin. Start now, and through action, you'll learn what works for you and what resonates with your audience. Embrace resilience. Challenges, especially in the early stages, are inevitable. Keep going, knowing that failure and mistakes are part of the growth process. Look for support. You don't have to go through this journey alone. Seek out accountability partners or communities where you can share ideas, uplift each other, and find the support needed to thrive. Leverage your skills. Even if you're transitioning from a different field, your previous experiences will shape and benefit your new path. The skills you've acquired are transferable and will play a role in your success. Be open to change. Your business might evolve as you learn more about your audience and yourself. Be open to adjusting your focus as you grow and discover new passions. Stay grounded in your purpose. Focus on providing a service that brings value to others, especially in ways that connect to your personal mission or goals. Helping people with a meaningful purpose will keep you motivated through the ups and downs. Entrepreneurship is vulnerable. When stepping into a new business, especially as a mom, it can feel vulnerable and overwhelming. But putting yourself out there is part of the journey to success. Continuous learning. Be willing to invest in learning new skills, whether it's marketing, tech, or other areas you aren't familiar with. Taking the time to learn will help your business grow and adapt. Don't compare your journey. Remember, everyone's path is different. Even those who appear successful on the outside have their own struggles. Focus on your growth rather than comparing yourself to others. If you want to learn more about Michelle and follow her, be sure to click on the links in the show notes to get connected today. We would greatly appreciate it if you would share this episode with someone you know could benefit from tuning in, as well as leave us a 5-star rating and let us know what was your favorite takeaway. If you need any support on your journey, as a life coach, I am here to help you. Visit me at marydibblcoaching.com to learn more. Thank you so much for tuning in. It means the world to me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Until next time, much love.